Okay, we're live. Episode 59 of the podcast, OverLimit Podcast, and I'm with SPT Spoon as always. Spoon, How are you doing today? Got to turn on my other light here.
Yep. Good.
Good. The beginning song was, of course, from the recent title Circle Tactics. Right? Sorry, not Circle Tactics. Square Chess. So Square Chess. Wait, no, it's not Square Chess, is it? What is it? Triangle Strategy.
Yeah,
Triangle Strategy.
He found it.
I found it eventually.
We know he's just trolling.
I found it eventually, but last week it came out on the Nintendo Switch. We talked about the reviews of it last week, and that was pre-official release, though. Those reviews we talked about were on Thursday. So, came out the following day, Friday, and Spoon got his hands on it, of course. I played some of the demo. Unfortunately, I haven't finished it, but my plan is to play it this weekend and finish it. Because I don't have to do a project anymore. And that was horrible, by the way. The project is so bad. Even before the deadline. My program, for whatever reason, didn't run, and it was the one I turned in, so I had to fix it again. It's horrible. But anyway, yeah, we've got a lot of game news today. It should be. I think there's some fun news. I think there's a lot of fun news today in particular, because we get to talk about Babylon's Fall, and that's fun. Also, I didn't add it on here. If we wanted to talk about the computer building company
Artesian.
Astesian, got it. Astesian.
Yeah.
So we didn't have that necessarily as a part of our news links that we usually get, but we will talk about it, I think, a little bit at the very least. So Spoon, let's do introductions before the news. Do we have any introductory thoughts? Anything we wanted to specifically highlight before getting into the news?
Other than the usual, we have the YouTubes. We were a little slow on the upkeep for the YouTube videos the last couple of podcasts, but we did get them up early this week, so check those out. And I know you have your charity thing coming up, so maybe you want to plug that.
Yes, I do. So I'm going to be running a charity event next week, starting on Wednesday. I will pull the link up since it is public now. So I have this public link here for a Tiltify. If anybody wants to, check it out, watch. The schedule starts March 16th at 1 p.m. Pacific time. I will be playing Mega Man X and Super Mario World in a 4-hour block. And I'm turning on crowd control for it, which I will probably explain on my own personal stream, because there's a lot to unpack actually with that, and I don't think this is the best time to talk about that. We're raising money for Monterey Bay Aquarium, which I supported last year, and we raised over $800, which is why the goal is $800. If you would like to contribute, feel free. If you don't want to contribute, that's totally fine. But I would ask that if you're not going to contribute, but you want to support, just watch. Just watch the event. Like that's all you have to do, because that stuff is also immensely helpful in trying to kind of build up interest and support what we're doing. So yeah, I think that's the short and sweet of it. It's the Tiltify. I'll put it in the Twitch chat. If and when this goes to YouTube, I will put it into one of the descriptions below. But most of that's going to happen from my server and through my Twitter and things like that. So that's the charity event I'm running next week, and we've got a couple streamers for that. So it's going to be me. Abandoned will also be helping quite a bit, and Vis, who's come on before in the past, and Hectic, who I think has actually come on in the past too. In an episode where you weren't present, I had both Vis and Hectic come on. I think that's what happened. So okay, that's it.
Also, are we doing podcasts next week?
Yep. So the thing is with podcasts, we're not going to be doing it because I am going to be completely participating in that. So next week's podcast, I can't see it happening because of this. So it'll most likely either you'll have an opportunity to do it with somebody else, or we can take a week off. But yeah, I don't see myself being able to peel away from it.
Okay.
So that's also a good point. I didn't even think about that when I should have. But yeah, just to tag onto the YouTube, the YouTube videos are up. I personally haven't gone through them myself to watch, but I usually do, so I'll probably do that this weekend. But please just check it out, like it. If you have any thoughts, comment. But they were late just partly because of myself. Usually I'm the one that's on top of it, but I'm very slow because of all my work. So Spoon was gracious enough to do the most recent ones, which were excellent. So much appreciation. Thank you, Spoon, for doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anything else before we jump into news?
I don't think so.
Okay. Let's talk about news then. So let's get rid of some of these. Okay, this happened a few days ago. The Forspoken update on it being delayed. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. So Forspoken is the game. Oh God, I don't remember how to describe it, but it was it had a really nice free flowing movement, right? And it was the present day woman who went back into a medieval time or something like that.
Something like that.
So this was supposed to come out October 11th, 2022, based on this graphic, and it's been.
It was delayed to October. It was supposed to come out in April or May, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it got pushed back to October. This game's a PS5 exclusive, but it looks pretty cool to me. Published by Square. Looks sort of open world, and as Otto said, you have this modern day woman who somehow gets transported to some medieval world and ends up fighting monsters and demons and is trying to figure out what's going on. But she's got what looks like a lot of cool magic powers. So wind, ice, fire. Game looks pretty cool from what we've seen.
Yeah, I don't think they've actually explained at all how this character just happened to go back into this fantasy world, or how she got powers. So there's a lot of mystery still in the actual story. They've shown little bits and pieces, but was this a PS5 exclusive title?
Yep, PS5 exclusive.
Yeah. So
unfortunately,
so this is actually a pretty decent delay. That's 7-month delay. That's a 7-month delay. So not exactly a quick short fix for them. I imagine something went wrong, and they're needing over 6 months to fix it. It's quite a bit of time.
Yep.
So okay. Any other thoughts?
No, that's kind of it.
Okay. Everything announced at the State of Play for Sony, and there's a lot of things actually in this when I was looking through it. There's quite a bit to look at and unpack. I'll just give my quick highlights for this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, my first highlight is I don't know who decided they should copy Anthem, but you probably shouldn't have copied Anthem. But that being said, you have like Anthem suits fighting dinosaurs, which is it is a really odd concept, but not like unheard of. So that was obviously like a highlight. The Capcom IP, Exoprimal. I don't actually. I know there are people that are excited about Ghostwire Tokyo. I know nothing about it, so I'm just gonna skip that one. Isn't Stranger of Paradise Final Fantasy Origin the Souls-like quote unquote game?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, it's from the Team Ninja who made the Nier games, so yeah, it's kind of like Souls, but it's it's Team Ninja's version of it. It's not FromSoft, but
sure.
Yeah.
But it's like it's yeah, similar. What else did we have here? They talk about Forspoken there. The Gundam Overwatch.
Gundam Overwatch.
Gundam Overwatch got confirmed for a Western release 2022. The game that just, I mean, I don't know if they changed it at all, but it's Overwatch with Gundams. I'll just like get the trailer to play at some point. The Ninja Turtles thing is it's cool. It's nice to have a collection of those because there are some gems in there. Some of the older Ninja Turtles games are quite the gems, but 11 games, okay. I think it'll be cool. Yeah, this is just, oh my god. I'm looking at the top right hand corner, and it's literally the same, except it's on the opposite side.
And they literally just like copy pasted Overwatch, even the HUD, and like put a Gundam skin on it. I don't think there's payload, but like to me the most offensive part is the HUD is just exactly the same as Overwatch. It's like they didn't even fucking try.
It's the same, and it's speaking of news, we didn't post this, but Overwatch 2 got a beta announcement, so at some point we should talk about that.
I posted that was today, so
yeah. But anyway, yeah, Gundam Overwatch. The Ninja Turtles thing is cool. Like like I said, some of those arcade games were classics. I have no opinion on the Kaiju Brawler one. I honestly have no opinion on JoJo's Bizarre Adventure fighting game. I don't follow that. I think like, yeah, I think the two for the big highlights for me were the Anthem dinosaur game, and I just love hearing about that Gundam Overwatch game. That game is so funny. So, but I think the Dino Anthem game, if done right, assuming it's not as bad like Anthem, if done right, I mean it's like a weird but fun concept. So those are just, for me at least. Spoon, please.
Yeah, I mean, I think this was a solid state of play overall. It wasn't that long. It was, only 20 minutes. They went pretty rapid fire, so I think it was pretty decent. Yeah, the Capcom Dino Anthem was weird. I was just like, okay, this is an odd concept with the dinos falling out of the sky.
Yeah, that was weird.
And then they showed the suits, the lineup of the suits, and I'm like, yeah, this is just Anthem. They're just like, oh, BioWare did a really shitty job on Anthem. All right, let's just like steal their idea for the mech suits and like copy what their suits look like, and then make our own. So,
and the thing is, they really do look. It's not the exact same, but man, it's so similar. You're kind of look at it and you tilt your head and you go, you really copied it? Yeah. It looks like you copied your work here. From this.
Yeah, I mean, there was like I think there was one extra in that. There was 5 where Anthem, I think, only had 4 classes. There was the melee one, there was the magic one, there was the kind of basic ranger, and then there was the tank one.
Yep.
And this had all 4 of those. I was like, there was like the flying magic one, there was a sword guy, there was a kind of basic looking one, and then there was a big bulky tank guy, and I was like, yeah, this just looks like Anthem.
Yeah.
So, whatever. It might be good. Hopefully they do a better job than than BioWare did.
No.
Yeah, Ghostwire Tokyo. I mean, it looks like an interesting game, but I'm not interested in playing it myself. Gundam Overwatch is like, I play most Gundam games that come out. I probably won't touch that one because I mean, Overwatch is fine, but I just don't like the concept of it. I'm like, why? I don't know. Just why? Why?
Because Overwatch was extremely popular, I guess, and they're probably thinking, okay, well, we can do that with Gundams.
Feel a little late to the party, but
very
whatever.
late to that party.
Overwatch came out like 7 years ago.
3 competitive. I'm just looking at this. Sorry, there are 3 competitive game modes. Domination, which is just King of the Hill in Overwatch. There was Point. I don't know what Point was actually.
Point capture and domination sound like exactly the same.
They sound exactly the same to me. I don't know like what the difference is. And destruction, which is you just destroy.
So at least they don't have a payload. At least they don't have a payload mode.
Yeah.
But you know.
But it's still like, okay, it feels like somebody said, just copy exactly what Overwatch did, but put Gundams in it, and maybe make small adjustments to make it look like it's not a carbon copy. But like, the HUD is a carbon copy. That HUD is really, really sus. I don't know.
Yeah, it's really sus.
Sorry, your other ones. Keep going.
Yeah, Stranger of Paradise is coming out next week. You know, there's a demo. Forspoken we talked about already. And then JoJo Fighter, I don't particularly care about, but I'm sure a lot of people do, because JoJo's pretty darn popular.
Yes.
But the thing, my highlights were honestly the last 2 games, the 2 Square RPGs, the Dio Chronicle, I think, and then Valkyrie Elysium. Both look cool and interesting. Both are coming out this year, which is pretty surprising. I mean, Square is they've got a lineup this year. That's all I'll say. You know, they already released Triangle Strategy. Babylon's Fall sucks, but they did release Babylon's Fall this year. Forspoken is a Square game. These 2 the new Star Ocean, which was announced last year, is allegedly coming out this year as well. So Square Enix has got a lot for this year.
Yeah, they're pumping out quite a bit.
So yeah, I mean, both those games look cool and interesting and different. So yeah, we'll see.
Okay. Let's I guess let's keep going then on to Halo. You posted this in the server. Halo Infinite players worry about the future after campaign co-op delay. I personally did see that they delayed the co-op. I don't know how far they delayed it to. Do you know?
I don't think they said exactly when, as far as I know,
okay.
But I'm not entirely sure.
So co-op and Forge won't be there for season 2. I'm just looking at sort of the rest of the article, and the rest of the article is just detailing people's negative perceptions from this. I haven't played Halo in a while. I will say I do want to before the season ends, which I think it ends in like 2 months, because it says I think season 2 is May. So at some point I do want to start playing again so I can finish up the battle pass. Here's how I feel about the campaign co-op. There are going to be tons of people interested in the campaign co-op. I know that. I personally don't think I am anymore. I'm not so sure how interested I am in campaign co-op at this point.
Why? Just because you played the campaign already?
I played the campaign already. No, that is a factor. I played the campaign already. That's a factor for me. It's not that I don't want to play like specifically with somebody like you, for example. It's like, oh, I won't play you. But it's just a matter of I've played it. I've experienced it. That world isn't going to get any bigger with campaign co-op, or there's not going to be new stuff that opens up. It's kind of just like you're playing the exact same campaign again, but you got a friend. I'm not so sure that's enough of a draw for me. So that's kind of my issue with campaign co-op at this point. Forge isn't Forge though. I've never experienced Forge that much in Halo. but I know it's really popular. It's one where you like get to build your own maps and stuff. I think that's what
Yeah,
Forge
it's
is.
just the map. It's just their map editor.
Yeah.
That's what Forge is.
I also know, like, I'm personally not interested in Forge, but like I know a lot of people would be extremely interested in that. So the fact that they're delaying these like this, Halo had this like really big window where nothing else in the multiplayer shooter genre was like doing anything spectacular. I'm not counting battle royales. Like Call of Duty has fallen out of favor. Battlefield 2042 is a disaster and is at this point is just dead.
Overwatch is losing popularity.
Overwatch 2 got, something today.
Overwatch might come back. Overwatch 2.
Overwatch 2 might come back. But like your main players, like this was like a huge window that Microsoft and Halo had. And I feel like they're trying to come up with ways to screw up the window. Call of Duty is not going to get a new iteration for another year and a half. We know that. They said that. That's like a massive window for Halo to try and soak up more audience. But they can't because, first off, the season was too long. Season 1 was way too long. 2, they're delaying all their content that frankly should have been out by now. And I feel like they're wasting the opportunity. And when Overwatch 2 does actually get that beta, that multiplayer beta and a release, they're gonna take back some of the stuff that Halo's gotten. It's a different game, but it's new, so it's exciting. So people want to jump on the new thing. I think Halo's wasting the opportunity, in my opinion. Spoon, your opinion, sir?
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I mean, honestly, people were disappointed when these features, and they should have been, weren't there on release, and now they're not even going to be there 6 months after release. It's like, people are saying, like, should this game really have come out last year? I know people liked it, but, it had issues and it had missing content, and season 1 was super long, and the battle pass wasn't, like, the rewards weren't that good, and you could, if you played a decent amount, you could complete it like far before the season ended. So yeah, I agree with you. I think, Halo is wasting their golden opportunity to kind of take the reins as being the top dog in the shooter market by all these delays. And we'll see, when season 2 comes out, how much they add to multiplayer, because it says there's supposed to be new maps, new modes to multiplayer, which should help, and a new battle pass, I'm sure. So we'll see. But yeah, Halo is just, it was fun for a while, but it's just, the gameplay is good, but there's just not enough variety, and there's no progression right now, because most of the people who played Halo a good bit completed the battle pass like weeks ago, maybe a month ago. So
if you're playing Halo every day, you've completed it like a month and a half ago at least. If you're someone like myself or you probably haven't, but like you got really far, I'm sure, considering how much you played.
I didn't get that far. I was like around level 50. I was like maybe 46, 47, 48.
Yeah, but you were probably had like I was playing pretty like consistently for about 2.5 months, and then I stopped. So like if you played consistently for 2.5 months, you got pretty far, I imagine.
Ghost, my brother Ghost, he was nearly done. He was like level 90 or something like that.
So I think the fundamental issues, I'm looking at this Twitter post that they embedded in here saying that saying the game should have been delayed. Possibly the biggest problem with Halo Infinite is they had to put out so many fires, partially related to bugs, partially related to big team battle, partially related to the battle pass not being well implemented. They had to put so many fires out, and all that time that they could have spent on getting co-op ready, getting Forge ready, probably was wasted. Was wasted. They probably had to really stretch thin those other teams to try and fix all these other fires to put them out. So I do think season 2 should have been here now. Like season 2 should have been out by now. I feel like the season was way too long. Season 2 better not be the same length. Season 1 came out and started when Halo Infinite multiplayer released. What, October? They released it early.
It was November.
November, okay. So it was November, December, January, February. It's going to be a 7-month season.
It's a 6 month. It was a 6-month season.
It's too long though. Even if it's 6 is way too long for a season.
Yeah. And generally they've said they're planning the seasons to be 3 months. So this one was like 2 seasons in one.
Yeah, it was not a good call. It was a bad call.
Like, I feel like they should have just delayed the game until February or March. Like, I know they wanted to hit the fall release window, obviously, but it feels like they just should have delayed the game till February or March,
right?
And did season 1 then. Like,
I think, yeah. I mean, like, obviously, if the game had come out, for example, last month, it would have had to, like, yeah. I'm sure somebody was like, we can't put this off anymore. We need to make money now. But if it had been delayed 3 months, then they probably would have had a more opportunity to get the co-op out, at least, if not on release, in May. And that window is definitely better. Like, we assumed that co-op would have been out in May, right? And it's not. So that's like, I mean, that's too long for that kind of thing. At that point, it's like, I would seriously question how many people are going to be interested in co-op after about 6 months of Halo Infinite being out. I do question the interest at that point. It's just like too long. It's like, most people who were really interested in Halo probably beat the campaign by now, and then some, maybe twice. So I don't know. I don't think co-op, unless like the campaign just fundamentally changes, is gonna do much at this point.
Yep.
Okay. Any other stuff?
Nope.
Okay. This is the Advance Wars delay. So I'll read the tweet. In light of recent world events, we have made the decision to delay Advance Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp, which was originally scheduled to release on Nintendo Switch on April 8th. Please stay tuned for updates on a new release date. There's no indication of when this will get released in the future, obviously because of the current events in Russia and Ukraine. We talked about this yesterday, but let's just break down the actual analysis here. Was this a good delay, yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. So this is a good delay, but here's my follow-up question. I don't want to necessarily go too far into what current events are happening right now in the world. How long should this be delayed, in your opinion?
Well, I mean, if they're delaying it because of current events, which is obviously the war in Ukraine.
Yes.
They are probably going to delay it until either the war is over or at least the media coverage of the war has diminished substantially.
Okay. Yeah.
And we don't know how long that is going to be.
Yes.
So it's kind of an indefinite delay at this time. The war could end in a couple of weeks. It could end in a couple of months. It could keep going for years. Who knows? Like we talked about this too. The design of the game warranted this, and you mentioned it. It's a cartoony looking game that I don't want to. I think making light of conflict like this, like with war with tanks and planes and missiles and stuff, it kind of makes it light of it because of the art style of it. And you were talking about the story. Yeah, please. Yeah, the story, like, I don't remember it that well because it's like, it's not serious. It's like, again, like, I don't think they're like intentionally making light of war, but it's like, it's a Nintendo game. They are not going to do a gritty war game on a Nintendo platform, like, at least developed by a first party. I mean, it's just what it is, basically. Advance Wars is Advance Wars. It's a cartoony art style. They portray, the characters that, looks like a board game, basically. It's not supposed to emulate real world war in any way. It, I would say, quote unquote, makes light of war in some ways just because of the way it is.
Right.
And that's just a bad look. And also, I think from the business, I think this is honestly mostly a business decision on Nintendo's part. They're saying, like, do we want to release a game called Advance Wars on, during an actual war where the media perception of war is very negative? So basically, and it's Nintendo, so a lot of times, parents may go into game stores or Amazon or whatever and look, okay, what game should I buy for my kid? With the events going on right now, do you think they're going to look at the shelves and see Advance Wars and buy that? Hell no.
No.
So
some mother out there, father, whoever it is going to walk in, they're going to see that and they're going, what the hell is this? Is this a joke? Is this a joke? And then they're going to go on a Twitter rage or Facebook rage, and you don't want to do, the sales of this game were definitely not going to do well today.
Well, they certainly would be impacted. I'm sure there's the people who played Advance Wars back in the day in the early 2000s.
Yeah,
like
they're gonna buy it.
They would still buy it. Like I still would have bought it had it come out
right
on April 8th, because I played Advance Wars. I don't care.
You instinctively are making the connection that it's a video game. It's not. It has nothing to do with this. You know what it is, but that one mom doesn't know.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
So that's where the sales would get hindered. Nintendo figured that out, and put that together and said, okay, we need to move this back, because we know our hardcore fans are going to buy it. We know the fans of the series are going to buy it, but the people that are on the fence, the people that are potentially like the parents, they're not going to get this. They're not going to do that for their
also,
kid.
Funnily enough, Advance Wars is kind of cursed, because the original Advance Wars, it released, and maybe they delayed it in the West. It might have just been the Japanese release, but it was either scheduled for released, or it was maybe just in Japan released, either the day after or the day before, or the day after or the day before 9/11.
Oh my gosh.
Advance Wars is fucking cursed, dude.
Oh my gosh. Oh boy. Oh man,
Yeah.
That's, oh yikes.
So yeah, they got hurt on that one with the original Advance Wars.
Yeah,
as well,
that's a yikes for sure. Anyway, indefinite delay. No idea when it's coming back. Obviously, there's some other things in current events that are happening that are, a factor. So this is just you gotta wait and see. There's nothing else to say. You just have to wait and see.
And yeah, and obviously the fan base. There are some portions of the fan base they're upset. They're like, oh, that it's just a game. You should release it. Yada yada yada. And like, yeah, in a way I agree with that. But again, you have to see it from the perspective, the business aspect of Nintendo. Like,
right.
Yeah, if we release this right now, the sales are probably gonna suffer a little bit because of current events.
Your perception may not look the best. And usually that's important. I guess sometimes it's not for some companies, but usually you want to have a good perception. So yeah, that's that. I think that is also a key here.
Also, the story of the game starts with Blue Moon, which you could equivalent to Russia in some ways invading Orange Star. So there's not really a it's a little rough.
Yeah.
The start of the game, so
they probably saw that too, and like, okay, maybe not. Yeah, let's not do this now. Which, I mean, this game was always delayed. Supposed to come out in December, got delayed. Now it's indefinitely delayed. Again, who knows? I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on, so
yep,
this is just part of it.
Yep.
Any other stuff before I move to Square?
Nope. Let's move on.
Square Enix has a YouTube music channel and added 5,500 tracks to it. It's officially licensed music from Square. It is now available to listen to on YouTube Music. I have a question though. this is still copyrighted music. So like I can't just play this during my stream, right? Or is this like a
I have no idea.
Okay. Well, so it launched its own YouTube channel dedicated to its soundtracks and added thousands of music tracks from its games to YouTube Music. And I mean I looked at it yesterday while we were talking. Huge library, massive library, obviously. Tons of titles, not just Final Fantasy, obviously. You've got Kingdom Hearts. Kingdom Hearts should be in there. Oh yeah, Chrono Trigger, Nier series, the Nier series. There's a lot of stuff in there. That was just like a small taste, a morsel of what's in there. So, Spoon, what do you think of having a nice big collection like this in YouTube Music?
I mean, it's smart of them, and I'm sure they're gonna revel in the ad revenue on YouTube instead of letting I mean, it sucks for people who had these, music, channels dedicated to video game music. They're getting taken. A lot of them are getting taken down. I don't know if I know we did the story recently about Nintendo doing the takedown. I don't know if Square did that in the past or recently. I didn't see anything about it, but maybe they did. Mm-hmm. I saw some tweets like, "Hey Nintendo, you wanna do this?" Like people saying like, "Nintendo, you should do this." Like people want to listen to your music, so put it up.
They should, but they won't, because we know what they're gonna do. They're gonna make you pay for it. They're gonna have a service, and they're gonna make you pay for it. That's what Nintendo's gonna do, and it's gonna be bad. Like it's gonna be bad. The music quality is gonna be horrible. We know that. It's gonna be like the bare minimum of that. Nintendo's not gonna do that. They're definitely not doing that. But yeah, Square's just gonna get tons of ad revenue from YouTube. It's a good business decision too. You're right. I don't think I've seen anything regarding Square Enix takedowns though. So I think like if you still have those on YouTube, like if you still have your own music for it, I don't think they're doing anything yet. But that that could change like anytime.
Good.
So who knows? But at this point, I haven't seen anything. I could just check your Square Enix YouTube takedowns, and we could see maybe they are. But it does, I mean, like I just searched it, and nothing recent is particularly coming up for that. So I don't think so. So that's good. They're putting their own thing up, their library up, great. They're not trying to bully anybody else. Also good.
I mean, I'm sure YouTube will push their channel to the top of the algorithm as well, in terms of if you're searching for Square Enix music from any of their games. If it's on there, I'm sure YouTube is gonna push that to the top of the search field. So
you bet they will. Bet they will. YouTube is gonna do that. I am 100%. I would guarantee Square sent a note to YouTube too. They're like, hey, YouTube, we're gonna put our entire library up here. You want to promote that a little bit? Just a little bit. I'm sure YouTube would be doing that. Maybe they like gave YouTube a couple bucks. Here's some money. Promote our channel. Make sure people see it.
Yep.
Okay.
But yeah, more. I mean, I think it's good for Square Enix because they're probably gonna make some ad revenue off of it. And I mean, to be honest, I mean it's bad for content creators who did this in the past, but it's good for most people because the music's just there. It's free on YouTube. You might have to sit through ads occasionally, but
that's part of it. Yeah.
But I think for the most part, it's good for gamers in the long run, just to have access to the huge library of game music. So
yeah, I agree. Okay. Did I add this or did you add this one? 8 more counts of alleged sexism and discrimination at Sony PlayStation have been added to a potential class action lawsuit against the company.
Try.
So yeah, I forgot who added this. We'll have to.
I think. Oh, that was you. It was you.
It was me. Okay, I must have found this. This is from Game Informer. So there's a class action lawsuit for sexism at PlayStation. I wish I could say I'm surprised, but I'm not. I'm really not surprised.
Nope.
I just am not surprised. So okay, let me just try and read a quote here. Let me zoom in on it. One person, Marie Harrington, her filing says there's a lack of women considered for senior roles during collaboration sections, citing that during one session, only 4 women were considered for promotions compared to almost 70 men that were considered. Harrington says she heard comments about female candidates' family lives in those sessions that weren't made for applicable male candidates too. Okay, so it seems like in this case it is just strictly, like, obviously we haven't seen the rest of them, but like just discrimination to potential new roles, potential promotion opportunities, and that is bad, very bad. You should I'm not, yep. But I'm not surprised though. This kind of stuff, it happens all the time. Really wish it didn't, but it does.
Yep.
So I mean there's a little bit more in here too. There's it's just like I really wish these people would just like stop doing this, but they don't. But anyway, we'll see what comes from this. And I don't know. Spoon, I have nothing really to say. Like, I'm just not surprised.
Yeah, I mean, this is just another one of those where I just shake my head and say, here we go again.
Like, come on. Seriously.
I mean, unfortunately, it's still a very male-dominated industry, and, you know, I'm sure there's a lot of bro culture, and, I mean, this is more discrimination about promotions and, like, sexism and promotions and, you know, positions, so it's not quite as bad. Well, it's still bad.
It's still bad,
but it's not like actual sexual harassment, so I'd say it's quite as bad, but I'm not trying to don't want to undermine it at the same time, because it is discrimination and sexism, and it sucks.
Yeah.
And yeah, unfortunately, you know, still a very male-dominated industry. And,
yeah.
You know, I mean, we wish that this stuff didn't exist still, but unfortunately, racism, sexism, you know, transphobia, homophobia, all these things still exist in the world, not only in the gaming industry, but all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
And we just have to deal with it and hope that, you know, the people that are doing it get their just punishment, which they don't a lot of the time, unfortunately.
Yeah,
but
not all the time. When it's deserved, they should be punished. But yeah, that's it just, here we go again, I think is the best way to put it.
Yeah.
Okay. We get to talk about Babylon's Fall. Oh god, where do we start? Let's start with the Steam charts, and then we'll go over the review part. We obviously these are in tandem. Here's Babylon's Fall. An hour ago, this was an hour ago, there were 158 people playing an hour ago.
On Steam.
The 24-hour peak on Steam was 632 people in the last 24 hours. Somewhere in, yeah, it's right here. The all-time peak was 1,166 people, which was,
I'm sure it was over the weekend.
That was Friday, March 4th. That was when that happened. Okay, that's the Steam charts. Not good, obviously. Not good. Average players, 445. Live service, by the way. Here,
it released last week.
Released last week. Live service released last week from Square Enix and Platinum Games. Here's the critic. Here's the open critic of Babylon's Fall. 7% of critics recommend it. Top critic average 43. Weak rating coming out somebody gave it an 80 out of 100. Okay. But where was oh god, there's IGN. IGN gave this a 4. I don't, how many reviews were there? There were only 31 reviews. I think you mentioned this, like nobody wanted to touch this thing. Everybody was like, yeah, I don't want to play it. I don't even want to review it.
Nobody cared about this game.
I mean, not to like say any of these other publications are not important or anything, but like 31 people is like not a lot. Like I want to compare this. I know it's like a weird comparison, but we're gonna see how many people actually did reviews for Elden Ring, and I can almost
like
guarantee
120, like
148 critic reviews.
150 almost.
Yeah, so
I mean, I'm pretty sure Triangle Strategy had like 40 or 50. Like,
yeah, we should actually look at that. It's not even on this list I'm looking at. Why is it not there? Oh, there it is. Okay, it's not on the available now section. Triangle Strategy had 44 reviews. Okay, and this is Triangle Strategy is a niche game. Like 44 reviews, great. Babylon's Fall had 31. It's not niche. It's an action game, live service. 31.
Yeah, from Platinum and published by Square.
Unscored reviews. Some people just was like, avoid. Didn't even score. Just like, don't play it. Avoid it. It sucks.
I mean, that could just be their review.
Just
like
avoid
or
it sucks.
buy, don't buy,
yeah,
rent or
no, you're right. Okay, here's my other thoughts that I want to add on to this. I don't have the links for it or anything, but I did follow tweets on this. So there were streamers that were paid to play the game as a part of an as an ad. Okay, sponsored
stream.
Yep, sponsored stream. Even the streamers playing it just did not like they were enjoying it. Like you can kind of fake a little bit when you have a sponsored stream. Like you kind of fake, it's like, oh yeah, this game, it's interesting, it's got this and this. Sponsored streamers just didn't say a goddamn word. They're just quiet playing it, and you're being paid to do this, and they can't even pretend to enjoy it. Like, that's bad. It's really bad. So I
mean, do sponsored streams, are they supposed to say good things about it? Like, I mean, maybe, but to me it's like they're, again, I don't know what the terms are. I've never done a sponsored stream, obviously. Right. So to me it was just be like, yeah, play this game on stream and at least explain what it is. Like, but right. To me it's like, if I were to do a sponsored stream, I would be like, if I don't like it, I'm not gonna tell chat that I like it. Like, I'm gonna say like, hey, it's a sponsor stream, I'm playing it, but I don't recommend this because I don't like it. Like,
but you can say some positive things still. You can,
sure.
When you're being sponsored for a stream, again, obviously we haven't, but I mean, like, if I'm just imagining it, if somebody came to me tomorrow and said, here's $1,000, play my game for an hour, talk about it, that's your sponsored stream, I'm probably still going to try and say nice things because somebody has provided me compensation.
That's true.
I won't just go, this is dog shit. There's probably some rules against that kind of thing. Like,
yeah, no, you probably can't say this.
You can, I could pretend to at least like not feel like I'm miserable the whole time playing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you can't, if you trash talk a sponsored stream also, then of course you're not going to get one ever again. But like, yeah, I mean, like, it's probably fair for a sponsored stream to do what you said, which is just say, okay, I'm going to explain the game, here's all this, and then just at the end say, look, it's not, I don't like this, it's not for me, but if this is something you're into, there you go.
Judge for yourself.
Judge for yourself, yeah.
Play it. Like,
exactly.
Maybe you'll like it. I mean, somebody gave it an 8. There's some people who did like this game. Like, there's some 7s and 8 on those reviews. Not a lot. The general consensus is it's not very good.
Yes.
But there's a few people here and there who like it.
Yeah,
so.
No, obviously someone enjoyed it enough to give it an 80. An 80 is like I would say is a respectable score. A 7, I think, is still a respectable score.
It's decent.
But 6 is like, yeah, this is problems. This has problems that can't really be avoided. I want to see somebody gave it a 1. Oh my god, a 1.5 out of 10. 1 out of 5. Like, this is a disaster. So like you talked about before, I just want to point this out. Square has a lot of things coming out this year. Okay, they got a lot of stuff coming out, and this particular game came out this year and is a live service. Those are two facts. This is the third live service we've seen attempted by Square Enix within the last couple of years. Marvel's Avengers, obviously, we have to invoke the name, I think, almost every podcast if we can. Outriders was not technically a live service, but it probably should have been.
But it should have been.
Good,
the one that they decided wasn't a live service, that is the one that people liked and should have been a live service.
Correct.
And the two they made live services were bad.
It wasn't amazing. Obviously, it wasn't amazing, but people enjoyed. There were people that enjoyed it. This is not. It was not Babylon's Fall, so that was not a live service, but it probably should have been. This is another live service that I wish I knew the story of this one. Like, Platinum Games developed this. My thinking is, I actually don't know the story, but my thinking is Square had somebody else making it for a while, realized it sucked, and said, Platinum, we'll give you a bunch of money. Fix it, please. Fix this. And Platinum said, all right, but you got to pay us a lot. And so they paid him a lot. They tried to fix it, and this is what happened. It's just not there. But like, there's probably some elements of a Platinum style game that are there. I think this was like I think this is a duct tape job. I think Square like needed somebody to duct tape this up and just throw it out there. That's what I think happened. I don't know what actually happened though. I would love to know if Platinum was the only developer on this. And
yeah, I don't know the answer to that. My impression is that it was just developed by Platinum. It was in development for quite a while.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe I don't think it was Platinum's A team. I think it was some sort of offshoot team.
Okay, but okay,
still a subsidiary nonetheless.
Correct.
Still has Platinum's name on it.
Right,
and,
which is it doesn't. Yeah,
it's a diarrhea stain of a.
It's horrible. It's ranked in the second percentile of games on OpenCritic.
I mean,
second.
You gotta be pretty bad to be meta 43.
It didn't even hit double digits percentile.
Like, look, nobody liked Anthem, and that game had like in the 60s for meta, and so did Marvel's Avengers was also in the 60s. Like, those games are considered not very good. This game is like 2 full points below both of those games.
It's bad. Really, it's like
bad. They are averaging a 4 for their review.
Yep.
Like, basically,
it's embarrassing. Really, it is embarrassing.
It is embarrassing.
That's embarrassing for Square.
And
go ahead.
And yeah, I mean, as we saw from the Steam charts, like, this game didn't sell for shit either. Like,
no, it didn't. We talked about this yesterday a bit. I think at this point, Square needs to stop making live services. I think they need to stop.
I mean, yeah.
I think they've tried more than once on big IPs. Like, Babylon's Fall is not a big IP, okay? That's not a big IP. Neither really is Outriders. But they've tried on Marvel's Avengers. Huge IP. Big IP. They tried it. It didn't work out that well. They're still pumping money into that, which I'm frankly shocked at. But they're still pumping a little bit of money into that. That, though, is not a success, frankly. Outriders was not a big IP, but it's another game that should have been a live service, wasn't. They fucked up there. They probably recognized they messed up, that they could have made a lot more money with that. This is just colossal. This is a colossal mess up. I've gotten, I don't know, colossal mess up. I think that I think Square needs to just stop with live services. I don't think live services are always inherently bad, but Square gives live service a bad name. They've somehow made live services worse. I don't know how it was possible.
They have. And man, you freaking or into live service models, and then they release this dog. It's like, please don't, Platinum. Please go back to what you do.
Right. Like this is the one is unsalvageable. Like Fallout 76, for example, was a game that was absolutely nightmarish on release. Had problems for like over a year, but they're still pumping content for Fallout 76, by the way. There's a roadmap still being developed for that game. That game has kind of clawed itself back into mediocrity. I'm sure some people would say it's good now, but I'm just going to say mediocrity. So like, it's not like games can't just like come back as a live service and like have this nice little middle ground. This game can't come back. It's so awful. There's nothing to... If you're getting a 4, it means you can't fix it. There's nothing to fix. A 6 or a 7 maybe can get fixed to an 8. You can't fix a 4.
I mean, you'd have to Final Fantasy 14 it, right? You'd have to literally remake the entire game.
Right.
Like,
You'd have to remake the game, and it's not worth it for this. It's just not worth it. Like, you messed up, move on. You've got a bunch of other games coming out under your portfolio. Stick with those. Stop live services for a while. Just don't do it. Platinum should never do a live service, even though they've said they want to. I don't know. Live services make a lot of money, but this is
when they're done well.
When they're done well, they make tons of money, right? This was a live service that you not only had to pay for to get in, which is not a good sign. Live services are probably not a great light when you have to pay to get into it. But it was also monetized like a free to play live service, which is like so confusing. So I don't know. This game sucks. I think there's no salvaging it. I think Square needs to just like fundamentally stop doing this with live services.
Yep.
They suck at it. Just do other things, please. Just stay safe for a few years so you can make your money back. Because this game lost them a shit ton of money, I imagine.
I'm not sure how much they spent on this. I mean, it was in development for a while, so maybe they did, but the marketing was pretty sparse.
True. No, you're right. That's true.
I saw a little bit. I don't expect they spent a ton on this. Obviously, they lost money on it, because if they spent anything on this, they lost money because almost nobody freaking bought it. So, I wouldn't like. I bet you they lost way more on Avengers because they spent 100%. A shit ton of money on Avengers.
100%, they lost more on Avengers. Avengers, I think we talked about Avengers lost them like
$100 million.
$100 million. Like they didn't spend $100 million on Babylon's Fall, but let's say they spent $10 million on it. Do you think they got close to $10 million back? Probably not.
Maybe like I think $1 million is even a stretch.
That's generous. Yeah, that's generous.
Like,
that's generous, I think.
They may have lost they probably lost at least a couple million on this game, if not a couple 10 million.
That's what I think. That's what I think. So, they should just stop. Just stop making live services. Just somebody go there and say, let's stop for a while. We're bad at this right now.
I think what surprised me about this game most, to be honest, was that I knew this game wasn't going to sell well. There was no buzz around it. People didn't like the look of it at E3, myself included. Nobody wanted to play it. It was coming out around the same time as Elden Ring, which
Correct.
is just stupid, to be quite. And it's this is pretty different from Elden Ring, but it's also an action game. So
right.
Triangle Strategy also released around Elden Ring, but Triangle Strategy is a very different audience than Elden Ring is.
Correct.
Your JRPG and your strategy fanatics like me are gonna buy Triangle Strategy, and I don't care about Elden Ring. So
correct.
This is different, but in a similar vein to Elden Ring. Everyone's playing Elden Ring right now, but then there was still no buzz around this game. But the thing that surprised me was that actually the game was bad. I was expecting it to be at least halfway decent game, maybe like a 70 meta or something like that.
Yep.
Because it was Platinum. I just trusted Platinum. They make good games. This is really their first bad game that they've made. This is their first stinker. So I was surprised that the game was actually bad, to be honest.
Yep.
I figured it would be a good game that would flop because it was just sold poorly.
Right.
And there was no buzz around it. But in fact, it was a bad game that flopped. So
yeah, I mean, I don't know. It wasn't Platinum's A team, but still, it's not a good look. I mean, that also means that people had to care, though. I'm not sure how many people cared about Babylon's Fall in the end. Like, they probably don't even know who. Maybe, I don't know. Babylon's Fall didn't get enough marketing for maybe people to feel like, oh, Platinum's. Well, what's going on with Platinum? Probably didn't necessarily get enough of a push for people to maybe recognize that.
Yeah.
But
So it's just such a departure for Platinum. I mean, like, if Bayonetta 3 comes out and that's bad, then we're gonna have a problem. But I'm pretty sure Platinum's A team is working on Bayonetta 3 right now.
I don't think so. If that game was bad, you'd have a BioWare on your hands.
Yeah.
You'd have a BioWare where it's like, what's going on? What's going on? Why are we making garbage now? Why are we making garbage? What happened? I sincerely hope that doesn't happen. Having developers go into a BioWare roller coaster where it's like, God, we're on a high. Mass Effect 3 came out. Oh God, we had some weird reviews. Okay, Inquisition, we made it work. Oh God, and just like a complete free fall into Andromeda and Anthem. That was that was quite something. So I mean, yeah, it wasn't the A team. So that's good that we know that, okay, the A team's probably doing something else. But again, like, you know, if the A team can't do it, which probably highly unlikely, but still, you don't want a BioWare on your hands where your developers in free fall because they're like, we can't develop games anymore because we're too all disorganized. And also, we don't know how to make good games anymore because all the people that we used to have to make good games bailed.
Yep,
because the big hand of EA opened the door.
Papa EA came in.
EA walked in and said,
"Make us more money."
EA said, "You know how to make multiplayer live service games, right?" No, we don't.
No, we make single player. We make single player RPGs. You gotta put multiplayer in it.
Why don't you put some multiplayer in it and make the multiplayer intertwined with the campaign? Why? That seems like a bad idea. Just do it.
Just do it.
Can we put loot boxes in it? Can we put a loot box in it? Which they did.
Oh.
Can we put a loot box in it? Anthem comes out. Anthem wasn't a multiplayer game, though. No, I'm sorry, not Anthem. Andromeda. Andromeda was not a multiplayer game. That game just was bad.
It was just broken.
It was just broken.
Like,
yeah.
The story was kind of stupid.
No, the story wasn't very good. No. The story, they literally copy and pasted Mass Effect 2 story. They literally copy and pasted it. Like, oh no, the oh God, I forgot the alien's name. It starts with an A. The weird aliens.
Anuses.
The anuses. They're actually the monsters, but genetically mutated. It's like, that's literally what the Reapers did, the Protheans. What are you doing, EA BioWare?
Yeah. The dialogue in that game was really bad too.
It was poor. Yes, the dialogue was poor. It was poor dialogue. The voice acting in certain parts was questionable, not because the quality of the voice acting was bad, but the voices themselves were not. Like, having a Krogan with a really like a high-pitched, weird-sounding voice, it's off-putting for some reason, seeing this big old behemoth talking like weird, like a little bit less baritone, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's some questionable other decisions too, but the gameplay of Andromeda was good. That was a positive. The gameplay of Andromeda was pretty good, so
it was fun to play.
Yeah, it was fun to play at least. Okay, well, Babylon's Fall sucks. Any other thoughts about Babylon's Fall, Spoon?
No. No more thoughts on Babylon's Fall. It's terrible. Don't play it.
Yeah, it's bad. Square, you need to stop. Stop live service making. Just stop. Okay. That was our news, by the way. That was all of our news for the particular week. The other thing we didn't necessarily touch on was the PC thing. Let me pull up the PC thing. What's
you also posted this Arkham Knight's release date. Gotham Knight.
You're right. We can let me find the computer company. What's it called?
Art. Yeah,
Artesian builds. That's it.
Yeah,
Thanks.
Artesian builds.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Here's our Artesian builds. Let's just pull up the PC Gamer article, and then I'll go back. Sorry about that. And then yeah, Gotham Knights did get a release date.
And Overwatch 2 beta.
Yeah, and Overwatch 2 beta. We touched on that a little bit. I can find the Gotham Knights release date, which I personally am excited for. As somebody who's kind of playing Arkham City again, our Arkham Knights had a couple of showings, like some trailers, a little bit of gameplay I think was released. Oh my god. We have a actual release date, which is going to be October 25th, 2022. This is the game that you don't play as Batman. You play as Batman's friends. Batgirl, Robin, Nightwing, and Red Hood. Red Hood's kind of an interesting one in here. You play as the other Batman, like, sidekicks.
Yeah.
I think it's cool. I think it's a cool idea.
What's Batman doing?
I think it's like he's dead.
Batman's dead. Okay.
I think Batman's dead or something. I hope it's that. I hope it's crazy. It's like Batman died. We have to protect the Gotham while he's dead. I hope it's. Dude, I sincerely hope it's that.
That dude looked like Deadpool. Is that Red Hood?
That's Red Hood. Yeah, Red Hood does have this kind of outfit. That is him. Okay, how old am I? I'm 69 years old. What do you mean? So yeah, that's Red. But that is what Red Hood would look like. He obviously wearing a red mask, Red Hood over him. The story of Red Hood is that Red Hood is actually one of Batman's old sidekicks. That was, he was one of the Robins, but he was a Robin that was like almost killed by the Joker, and then came back as Red Hood. He is a Robin.
Yeah.
So that was Batgirl before. This is Red Hood with Nightwing, and then there's Robin. So there's like all of them. There's all the various Robin characters. This is the official Court of Owls story trailer. I know nothing about this thing, by the way. The Court of the Owls. I know nothing. Literally zero.
I mean, do we know I assume it's gonna be like a third-person action game or something.
It is gonna be I think it's gonna be a third-person action game, akin to the Batman, Arkham City, Arkham series, yeah, which is what it should be, frankly. But I think I don't want to say there's co-op or anything. I don't know that, but I think it's just like there might be some like team support aspects to it.
Mm-hmm.
It's I don't know. It's the game. The Arkham games, even Arkham Knight and such were fun. They're still fun, even playing them now. Like I was playing a little bit of it last night. It's still fun. Like it's still fun. And it's interesting. It plays like Batman. So I hope it plays like that. The Batman game, Arkham games actually play like detective games, which is great. Like I want more detectiveness in Batman. So I hope it's like this too, where there's like a lot of detective work. Yeah, I'm excited about this one. October 25th is I'm really happy about it. There's also like a Suicide Squad game that's also being made as well, so that's an interesting one. I don't remember much about that one, but that's another game that's being developed with not like obviously side by side, but same group. Okay, and this is Artesian builds. Spoon, you want to talk about this one for me? Because I think you know more about it.
I don't know the entire story. I wasn't like super dialed into it, but this was like Twitter drama that's been going. I saw it mostly on Twitter. That was going on the last week and a half or so.
Yep.
Basically, you had this company. It's called Artesian Builds. They're a system integrator, a PC building company where you can, select your parts and then they'll build it for you and ship it to you. But they also had their gimmick, I guess, was they had a Twitch channel where, I don't exactly know what they did on it, but from what I know, they like built PCs on it and talked to people and promoted their brand, and they had, streamers they partnered with, like they call it ambassadors, and if you were an ambassador, you could be entered into a giveaway on stream to win a free custom PC. And what happened about, again, like a week and a half ago, I think it was early last week, is on stream they were doing the giveaway, and the CEO, first name's Noah. I don't remember his last name. He's in the picture there. He's the dude that is facing forward, the dude with the beard.
Yep.
Basically, they did the drawing for the PC. It went to a small streamer that I do not remember the name of, and he basically changed the rules of the giveaway on the spot and said, no, this person, isn't big enough. They only have X number of followers or whatever, and they're not helping me promote my brand enough, so I'm just gonna snub them and give it to someone else who I think is more qualified. It blew up in his face. Twitter, it got out, it blew up in his face. Twitter went all in on him. Some other content creators dug up some stuff. Again, from what I heard, the company had some business practice issues, I think maybe related to IRS or taxes, and their business license in California is actually suspended because of that. Though they have apparently they had two separate offices, one in California in the Bay Area where they did mostly the streaming and the content creator side of things, and then they had an office on the East Coast which did most of the actual building of the PCs and sending out orders, so actually fulfilling the orders that they got. And so this blew up in his face. He made 2 or 3 different apologies that basically everyone called out and said this guy's full of shit. And as of a couple of days ago, the company is basically shutting down. They have laid off all around 40 to 50 of their employees. They are canceling all orders, but apparently not issuing refunds for their outstanding orders, and they are not going to fulfill them. So those people who have outstanding orders should, if you're unable to get your refund through the company, you need to contact your bank or your credit card and tell them to backcharge that, because you aren't going to get your freaking PC. So
I have some stuff here that I want to share at the bottom of this article that's going to add on to things. So reported here's some reports here. According to Slack messages sent to I think this is Gamer Nexus, access to the company's bank account was frozen on March 7th, and then the CEO authorized employees to stop giving refunds. So that's kind of just adding on to it. So they just couldn't use their money. They just quite literally couldn't use their money. Specifically, there was some tax problems. I think you mentioned it. Their business license was suspended by the state of California for some kind of tax issue. Not exactly sure what that is, but just clarifying there.
That Gamers Nexus did a really good, it's 20 to 25 minute video. I did watch that video.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it's a good video. He doesn't explain all the details of the situation, but he did get some insider information because he was trying to coordinate an interview with the guy, with Noah, to help him, not necessarily help him, but just to get the full story and give him a chance to plead his case, basically. But basically it fell through, and that's not happening anymore. And
and just, we talked about this yesterday, but just to say, this isn't a small company. 227,000 Twitter followers is no joke. First off, 50 employees is also no joke. 50 employees working at the company. They're in San Francisco, which means you have to pay them a decent amount. By the way, the living wage in San Francisco is not a small amount. It's really not.
I think there was probably more of the employees were on the East Coast and the PC building side of things. I'm sure they had some in the West and the West Coast thing, but again, from my understanding, the majority of the operations happen in the East Coast office. So probably more employees there.
But if
I don't know where on the East Coast, so I don't know what the cost of living around there
is.
Is.
But if all those employees are being paid, which I assume they are, because nobody's come out and said I haven't been paid. Assuming they're being paid, they're making enough to support 50 employees, each of which, you know, if they're making like, let's just say there's an average of $50,000 per employee. That's probably not it, but if we do that math, that's not like a small amount of money they're shelling out for each, you know, of that headcount. They're probably not paying $50,000 for every employee. But my point is, like, you got to make a lot of money to be able to compensate that amount of people in the company.
Plus, they're a PC building company. I'm sure they have a ton of inventory for parts and stuff to build.
Exactly. Exactly. So like, this is serious, like a serious company. It's not like, you know, a startup of like 5 people. This happens to start with 5 people. It's like, okay, well, you weren't making money anyway. Who cares? But this is like, they're making a lot. They're making potentially millions in revenue to be able to support that headcount. So that is serious. Which is why I told Spoon yesterday, this brand just shouldn't die. Somebody needs to swoop in, scoop it up, and like salvage it. Because that's like the brand wasn't the problem, the guy was. My biggest argument is the guy is the problem. The brand should be salvaged.
No, I agree. This guy, like the CEO, he just seems like a bit of an egomaniac to me.
Yeah, you have to be. You're a CEO. You have to be an egomaniac. You have to be arrogant.
But he wanted to be like famous on Twitch and shit like that.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
and connected with content creators and like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So,
like I said,
he cared more about that than like the actual operations of the company, is what it seemed like.
Yeah, which is not good. Which, you know, that's not good. You have to be able to juggle all that stuff. I mean, he's you know, I hate to generalize, but you know, there's a lot of arrogant CEOs out there.
Yeah.
Part
of the Gamer Nexus video as well said that apparently there was a COO at one point who ran the operations on the East Coast office, the PC building and stuff, and that person left like late last year, November or something like that. Again, they don't exactly know why, but people are guessing that it was disagreement with the CEO, and that after that, this like CEO is kind of running the show on everything. So
yeah. I mean, yeah, CEO disagreed. There you go. Probably another reason why they had some potential financial problems is your guy that's not necessarily going to be able to do all your operations work has to do all the operations work while still trying to maintain that presence of going on those streams, because he was the one going on those streams. It wasn't somebody else, right?
Yep. It was him.
So he's going on the streams, being the face on the streams, which I'm not so sure that was the right move either, but he's the one that's being the face on the streams and running operations. There's no chance, especially if those streams are like multiple hours long. That's not how this works. I think losing a CEO that's incredibly damaging too, because you can't just take on 9 hours of work every day with your 9 hours of work every day and expect it to all balance out perfectly. Doesn't make sense. So yeah, the brand is salvageable though. Salvage it. Someone go in, awesome. Just grab it. Just buy it for nothing. You could probably buy it for nothing at this point. Buy it for nothing. Go get it. Salvage it. It's the brand still has a name. Just say you bought it. Things are going to change. But you know, you could. It's too bad if it does go under, because that's a sizable brand that gets tarnished because somebody's an idiot. The guy that's leading it is an idiot. It's extremely unfortunate. So, and it's unfortunate that person who got snubbed in the giveaway because she wasn't a big enough channel. Like, it's just stupid. It's just a stupid. She's an ambassador. You made her an ambassador. You are at fault if you didn't want her to be an ambassador. It's not her fault. Yep. She just accepted. It's like the, you know,
you can't change the conditions of a giveaway mid-giveaway.
Right. Exactly. It's not an NBA player's fault when somebody gives them $30 million and they decline and they're not worth that anymore. That's not their fault. They're either like there's some factor there, maybe they got hurt or something else, but like they just signed. Somebody offered them $30 million. That's no longer their fault for being that for having that much salary. It's to me it's like the same thing. It's like, look, her community, whether or not it was big, you gave her the agreement and she just signed it. That's it.
Yep.
Your fault. If you didn't like that she wasn't big enough, you shouldn't have brought her on in the first place.
Offered in the first place.
Yeah, why'd you offer in the first place? So, I don't know. Guy seems like an idiot. So, in like certain areas, obviously he's done. The brand was built, but having common sense would have avoided that, and just I don't know, being polite probably would have avoided that too. Anyway, any other thoughts, Spoon?
Nope. We'll see how it develops. We'll see if what you say you think should happen happens if someone swoops in and buys the brand and salvages it. But at this point, it seems like it's shutting down. And if someone buys it, I'm sure that this guy will have nothing to do with it because he seemed to be the problem.
No, so, if I was swooping in and buying it, I'd say you get nothing. Go away. Never come back. You're done. Your name is no longer associated with this brand. So that's how it would have to be. I know we have Overwatch 2 still to talk about. The Overwatch 2 stuff, which I think I don't know did you post it? I forgot who posted it.
I did.
Okay. So the Overwatch 2 thing, it was just that there's a beta release coming.
Yeah, late April.
April. That's very soon. That's very soon.
Yeah.
So Overwatch finally gets their scraps after, oh god, I don't know how many years it's been.
Years.
I think it's been 2 to 3 years of no content for that game because they announced Overwatch 2, and they're like, okay, here's Overwatch 2. Okay, when's it coming out? Are you gonna make content for Overwatch 1 still? No, we're only focused on Overwatch 2. Okay, well, what am we supposed to do? What do you want us to do? Just keep playing same game. Just keep playing the same game for years, and we'll maybe do some patches to rebalance it a little bit. Are you gonna add new characters? No. Maps? No. Anything else? No. Oh, by the way, Jeff's leaving. Bye, Jeff.
Yeah, I mean, that may be one of the reasons that Overwatch 2 is taking so long because the freaking lead director on the game left.
He just left. He's like, okay, see ya. Like, wait, Jeff, we kind of need you. Nah, I'm done. Thanks. Oh man, yeah, I mean that's definitely it. But that beta comes out, so the major change in Overwatch 2, at least for me, is you're going from 6 to 5. Oh yeah, Echo was added in 2022, so it has been 2 years.
2020, yeah. Okay,
so
2 years.
The game is going from 6v6 to 5v5. Okay, so that's a major change. One tank. This is for competitive roles. 1 tank, 2 support, 2 DPS. The poor tank players. They're just on an island. Well, so we have tanks, 2 supports, 2 DPS. I don't know if they ever said why they made it that change. I'm sure it's been told to me. I just don't remember. But yeah, they
probably talked about it.
I'm sure they talked about it. I'm sure they did, but I don't know. Somebody thought that 5v5 was better, so that's what they're getting. Mm-hmm. And there's a campaign in Overwatch 2. Not in the beta, but there's going to be a campaign. We get to some lore. Yeah, so wow, that's a great comment. Tank players have had 2 years to find better games. True. That's true. I'm sure there are some other options for them. Like HOTS.
Sure, HOTS.
Like HOTS. Just you can do that. Or
that
League.
That game is alive and kicking.
That game's alive and kicking. I here's what I hope. I hope that once the Microsoft Activision concludes, if it does, and nobody stops it. I hope somebody like Phil Spencer walks in and goes, Can we bring Heroes of the Storm back? And everybody in the office is like, what? Just bring it back.
What's Heroes of the Storm?
He just walks in. He's like, no. Let's bring in a team. Let's do it again. Let's re-release it. What? Yeah, we're just gonna re-release Heroes of the Storm. Same game. We're just gonna re-release it. We're just gonna do it again. Try it again. Why? I don't know. Phil's probably just like, I don't know. Seems fun. Let's just do it again. Fuck it. Oh yeah, they have Gundam Watch. I forgot.
I'm pretty sure the tank players aren't going to Gundam Watch.
Like, you just wait. Gundam Watch is gonna have a thriving tank community,
dude. I mean, maybe Gundam Watch will be popular in the East, but I don't think it'll be popular here. I sure don't. Especially with Overwatch 2 coming out. Like,
yeah, no, that game's not gonna do as well here. I think I agree with you on that. It's gonna struggle when Overwatch 2 comes out.
It's also like, why would you play rip off Overwatch when you could just go play Overwatch? Like,
because you like Gundams. Okay.
I mean, yeah, but I
don't know.
I just don't get it. Like, I don't get like Gundam over. I just think it's a dumb idea. Like, I don't like it. And you know me. You know I like Gundams and I like Gundam games, but that one's just not doing it.
Yeah, no. I know you played
You can do better.
You played the Gundam fighting game that came out. The Gundam fighting games that came out. Those ones that were like 2v2.
Yeah, Gundam Versus.
Yeah, Gundam Versus. You played those. There's another Gundam game which I won't speak of. I'm not even gonna invoke its name. That came out that you I don't think you played it. I'm not gonna invoke its name though. It's a curse to invoke its name.
You're saying I didn't play it?
Did you play it? I forgot if you played it. Did you play it? Did you play Gundam it. That which will not be named?
Breaker.
Okay.
New Gundam Breaker.
God, that game was so bad.
Shit.
Oh God. But Gundam Watch, I'm gonna play it. I'll play it.
You're gonna play it?
Yeah, as the ball. I'm gonna be the ball in the game. The ball is probably a DPS.
It's the ball in the game.
Ball's probably a DPS character. There's ball in Overwatch as well, so it's a nice crossover. And people like the hamster in Overwatch. Right. People like it. The hamster is great. Everyone loves the hamster. That's what I hear. Nobody complains over the hamster as a character in Overwatch at all. Super fun to play against. That's what I hear. Yeah, Hammond. Hammond's the hamster. Yeah, hamster in the ball. Okay.
Anyways.
Yeah. Anyways. Okay. Any other Overwatch stuff?
That's the news. That was
it?
That was a lot of news.
That's it. Yeah. That was a ton. That was a ton of stuff. Okay. So now that we've concluded with the news, let's talk about some other stuff. We have some other things to talk about. So do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, I do want to talk about it. Do you have anything else you want to talk about before
I'm being
strategy?
No, I have nothing else to say. This is the time we can talk about triangle strategy.
Okay. We're going to talk about triangle strategy. So, well, you know how last week I said that I wouldn't finish the game before the podcast?
No way you finished the game. No.
I didn't. I did not, but I am damn close.
I'm going to say, dude, you got to relax. Okay, now I need to ask. So the game came out Friday, and you had... Okay. You know what? It's been about six days since release. I'm trying to think of the feasibility of you doing this, and I think if it's a 40-hour game, that means you played what over the 6 days? Like, did you play 8 hours a day? 7 or 8?
Nah, not quite. I've probably played somewhere between 30 and 35 hours in the past 6 days.
So basically, you outside of your other stuff like studying, you've just been playing triangle strategy. Is that fair to say?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, just about.
Okay,
yeah.
So you
pretty much all the free time I've had, with the exception of a little bit of Critical Role on Sunday, and we played D&D on Sunday as well.
Sure.
I've played triangle strategy. Like,
Sure. Okay, just want to be clear on that. I'm like, man, you're almost done already.
Yeah.
So you've probably
pretty
got
much
a good...
all the free time I've had.
Okay,
Yeah,
so you've probably got a good judgment on the game right now.
My play time in the game is like 35 hours.
Okay.
But I played 4.5 hours of the demo, so
okay,
that was before the game came out.
Okay.
So.
Okay, so again, you've probably got a good judgment on the game at this point. Like you're far enough along where you probably probably have an opinion on this game, and it's not going to change.
And I've made what I think was the final decision in the game, going towards like the ending that I'm going to get.
Okay.
Like,
okay, the floor is yours. I'm just here to ask supplemental questions.
Yeah.
I played 1.5 hours of the game, so
yeah,
that's it.
Which was mostly cutscenes, because that's what the beginning of the game's like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So as we talked about with the demo and last week, the beginning of the game is really, really slow. The length of the chapters does not really change. In fact, it gets a little longer, but there is not as much dialogue.
Okay.
It's more gameplay, because there's more, like, there's the decision sections, there's the exploration, and there's the mock battle. Every chapter you unlock an additional mock battle in the encampment, which are like grinding battles basically. So it's an extra battle for you to do every chapter.
Okay.
So yeah, there's a better balance of gameplay to story, and also the story itself gets much more interesting after the third chapter, because after, pretty much everything through chapter 3 is just all set up. They're introducing the world, they're introducing you to all the characters, they are introducing you to the convictions and like those systems, they're giving you tutorials on how to play the game, etc, etc. Stuff starts happening in chapter 4, where basically the conflict, there is a certain event that happens, and the conflict that we saw in the first demo basically starts. The S-Frost invasion of Glenbrook basically starts at the end of chapter 4.
Okay.
So, and then you go into it from there, stuff is happening, and then there is a decision in chapter 3, which your decision in chapter 3 doesn't really matter. It's just like, it's an exploration decision. Like, they ask you whether you want to go to S-Frost or whether you want to go to Hyzant. So you choose one of the other two nations to go to and explore. You get, I believe you get a different party member based on where you went. If you go to Hyzant, you get the one that was in the first demo, who's the Ice Mage.
Okay.
And I don't know who the person you get if you go to S-Frost is, because I haven't played that route yet.
Right.
And then in chapter 7, you hit the decision that was in the first demo. Which did you play the entire first demo?
I don't even remember. Just say it. I don't remember anything.
So again, for people who care about spoilers, spoiler alert, but this is in chapter 7. This is the first major decision of the game. And I won't talk about any of the specifics of the decisions past that, because those weren't in any of the demos, but this decision is whether you want to, like, you've escaped the city and S-Frost has taken over. They have killed the king, and S-Frost has taken over Glenbrook, and they say, we are sending our army to attack you at a house, Wolfort, but we will not attack you if you give us the Prince Roland. So your option is to either give them Prince Roland or to defend Prince Roland.
Okay. That's the choice. You just give him up. Okay.
That's the choice.
Simple.
It's, do you accede to S-Frost and say, like, we need to protect our own people, we can't deal with this attack that's coming, we just need to give up Prince Roland? Or it's like, no, we need Prince Roland he's our friend, and we need him for the future of Glenbrook, so we protect him.
Okay, got it.
We fight the S-Frosty army. We stand our ground and we fight. Like,
okay. Which did you choose?
I chose to protect Prince Roland.
Okay, so you chose that one, and you stood your ground against the army.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Okay, that's the first major decision, is to defend the prince or not.
Yep.
Yeah, and you meet the prince early on in the game. So It's not like it's like you do meet Prince Roland, I think.
No,
fairly
no,
early.
yeah, he comes in. He's in the battle in chapter 1.
He's in
like,
the battle.
Sereno and Roland are good friends. Like,
like he's on the horse, I think, in that battle.
Yeah, he's the cavalry. He's your cavalry unit.
So you can either give him up or defend him. Got it.
Yep.
Okay.
So that's the first major decision in the game in chapter 7, and it goes from there. There is generally a decision every other chapter. So, except for, but yeah, the decisions are, and maybe I shouldn't say that, but there's a lot of decisions throughout the game. As you go on, most of them are, to me, interesting. They propose an interesting dilemma, and as you get later in the game, there are three-way decisions. So you have 3 options instead of 2, based on the 3 convictions of the game. And yeah, I mean, the game, in my opinion, is excellent, to be quite honest. Like, I really like the gameplay. We talked about last week how the units are all very unique and distinct, and that for the most part continues the more units that you recruit. Yeah, they're pretty much all unique. I don't think all of them are good, unfortunately. There are some where I'm like, yeah, like, I guess I see it, but I don't really like that.
Every unit cannot be great.
That's just the truth. It can't be that way.
Most of them seem at least usable. There's a couple of units that I think you would really enjoy. There's this one guy, he's his class is like engineer or something like that. He's the blacksmith in the encampment. But he can build ladders, which can help you like scale cliffs and walls. Nice. If you have like big elevation map and if like the enemy has the high ground, it can help get up the cliff. The other thing he can do is build it's a spring trap. So it's a trap that you can place on the ground that, like, if an enemy steps on it, it just fucking eats them.
I assume it damages them too.
It damages them if they fall off, if they crash into something, or if you like throw them off a cliff or something. Obviously, it damages them.
Yeah.
So.
Oh my god. Just spring trap. Nice.
That's a big meme. And then there's Piccoletta, the acrobat, she's interesting as well. She can really, the main thing that she does is she can make a decoy of herself.
Okay.
So you just spawn a decoy, and it wastes the enemy's turns, basically, because enemies waste their time attacking it. It's a freaking decoy.
Yeah, it's an XCOM decoy. That's really powerful. To just have enemies waste their time on that. I've always found that in XCOM that was like one of the best equipment. So that's a good one.
So yeah, there's a lot of uniqueness in the characters, like that. The assassin girl Anna continues to be just like completely broken because she gets 2 actions every turn. It's just stupid.
Yeah, that's really dumb. I think she was in the demo, right?
Yeah, she was even more broken in the first demo, but she's still really freaking good. She's one of the best characters in the game.
Yeah.
The main character is good. I think the mages are a lot better now. Frederica gets an ability on her skill tree in the mid game or so, if you decide to go for it, where basically anytime she kills something, she gets a TP back. So that's really nice.
Oh yeah, she gets a refund.
So she can TP battery herself. Basically, it's like, so if you all of her spells cost at least 2 TP, but it means that if you kill something with one of her spells, it's like you didn't spend TP that turn, because you spent 2, get 1 back, and then your next turn you get another one. You get another one back, so you're back at whatever you had at the start of the turn that you killed something.
Right.
So
yeah, that's valuable.
That's a very good ability for her. I think that makes her really good in the mid game. Yeah, and then you have Benedict, the advisor guy, who he has just all these buffs: attack buff, defense buff, movement buff. He has an ability, and then he has 2 abilities. One's called Now, which basically it costs 3, so it's pretty expensive, but it allows whoever he uses it on, it just makes their turn next. Like, they get to go.
Oh, that's cool.
And then he has another one that is similar, but it's called Twofold Turn. it means that on that person, whoever you cast it on, their next turn, they get 2 turns. So,
okay.
So yeah, he's really interesting as utility. You have Huette, the mounted archer, the hawk knight. I don't know if you remember her.
I do. No, I do.
She doesn't do great damage as far as later she starts doing better damage, but like she has a lot of utility. She has a blinding arrow. Obviously her mobility is really good. She can go up and down cliffs because she's a flying unit.
Yep.
And she has, a blinding arrow and an immobility arrow as well, so she can root people in place.
Sure.
So she has a lot of utility. And yeah, there's just lots of different characters. They're all different and interesting, I think. And yeah, I mean, I think the tactics are really fun. The game is, once you get into the mid game, is relatively challenging, even on normal. The maps are not easy. The bosses, not every map has a boss, but when the bosses are there, they're very strong for the most part. And yeah, I mean, I just think the game's really fun. The story's pretty good, but it's more to me about like the decisions and the consequences of your decisions than the actual like plot of the game. There are a few interesting like twists, I would say. One of them felt a little ass pulley to me, kind of like not quite as bad as the Moon and Scarlet Nexus, but it was along those lines. I was like, okay, I don't know about that one.
Yeah,
like,
it's a little weird. Okay.
And the characters. One thing I'll say that the game doesn't do especially well is like character development. The main 3 or 4 get decent character development, I would say, which is Serenoa, the main character, and then Roland, Frederica, and Benedict. Those are like, they're pretty interesting and they get some character development, but the side member, like the random people you recruit, are like, they have nothing to do with the story at all. They have like their backstories, and when you recruit them, you'll get like their backstory and why they want to join you. And then if you use them enough, you can get a few more like cutscenes with them that explains like their struggle and where they're going. And some of them they're hit and miss, but they feel very like disjointed from the actual plot of the game, which is fine, I guess. But they're not.
It'd be nice if they had a stake in it, like at least then.
Yeah. The problem is, like, it's kind of like Octopath, where it's just the way the game was designed. It just doesn't, because you don't always recruit the same people. The people you recruit depends on the decisions you make. Your, like, Serenoa's convictions, which are hidden in the first playthrough. In New Game Plus, apparently you could actually see what your convictions are and, like, what you can do with that. But, so yeah, they couldn't really make any of the side characters super important to the story or anything.
Okay.
But yeah, the side characters, they just feel, as far as the story, very, very tacked on. They're just kind of there to be support units for your team, which is fine. And again, I think they're interesting gameplay wise. And yeah, the character development on some of the, even other than the main 4, so the other 3 would be Anna, Huette, and Eridor. They just feel like they're kind of there. Oh, and Gila as well, the healer. They just feel like they're kind of there for the most part. So yeah, I don't think the character development is exceptional, nor is the plot itself exceptional, but where this game really excels is in the decisions. The decisions, for the most part, all feel interesting and impactful, and you could make an argument for either, just like any of the decisions for the most part. On some of them, like especially in the 3-way choices, on all 3 of them, one of the 3 choices I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing that. I see the argument, but no, I'm not doing that. That's awful. So yeah, but that's a personal prep. There's someone else who could think like, no, that's a great plan. I want to do that. Like that gives us the best chance to win. So I'm gonna do that. But to me, I was just like, no, I'm not gonna do that. That's fucked. Like,
Sure.
So yeah, but that's a personal preference thing. So yeah, I think the choices are all interesting, and they, to me, from what it seems like, the flowchart is very like, it branches, but it doesn't like branch and then branch most of the time. It'll like branch out and then come back together.
Yeah.
So like,
I mean, you can't expect it to branch out like too far.
No, you can't expect it to
like,
branch.
Man, that's a lot.
That's what I expected for this game, because there's like, yeah, there's like 7 decisions in the game, which is a decent many. And if each one of those had like, 2 or 3 branches, and then those had 2 or 3 branches, like that would get way too big, way too fast. So
correct.
I think the way they did it makes sense, where you'll branch out and then you maybe have a few things that can branch from there, but then it'll come back together and you'll kind of get back on the main path again, and then you'll branch out and it'll come back together, and branch out, come back together.
Right.
So that's kind of how the flowchart works for the most part from what I've seen. But yeah, I really like the game. I think the gameplay is really fun. I like the gameplay more than I thought I would, because generally with like this more Final Fantasy Tactics style, I haven't liked it as much. But this game, I really like the combat and the gameplay. For people who really like Final Fantasy Tactics and the depth of customization they have in that game, this game doesn't have that. Your units are what they are, and you have class promotions, but they're linear. It's just like you upgrade from 1 to 2 to 3, and that's it. And you have a weapon upgrade tree as well, but there's some decisions to make in there, but not a lot. Like, they're generally just like minor stat boosts and stuff like that. So, yeah, there's not a huge depth of customization like in Final Fantasy Tactics, but I think it still works really well in this game, and I really like the gameplay. And the decisions are great. I think the story to me is good, but it's not like exceptional. And yeah, it's like some of the characters feel a little disjointed, but other than that, I like the characters for the most part.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, for me, this game is like, I think this game, for me, if I had to rate it now, I'd probably give it a 9, to be honest. Like, I really like it. It has a few issues. I can't see myself giving it a 10, but it's really, really good. It's not going to be for everybody. The slow pace. There's still a lot of dialogue, even past the early game. It's just more stuff is happening, so it's more interesting and not as dry, I would say, as in the beginning, where it's just introducing everything. So you're like, okay, geez, we just got to go through. Here's this guy, and here's that guy, and no. Yep. Let's learn about the Salt Iron War, and let's learn about Esfrost, and let's learn about Hyzant, and like, okay, yeah, it's a lot.
It's a TV show. It is a TV show. There are TV shows that exist. You can't be like a movie. There are some games that are like a movie. Okay, like Dead Space is like a movie. Like, things just happen really fast all the time, and you just keep going. But a TV show needs to be like, especially when it's like a couple seasons, it goes slow to start because it wants to give you everything introduced, and then once you figured all that out, not every TV show is like this, but like then once you understand all that, you can kind of just like, then they start going like halfway through the season, like, okay, you got everything, good, here you go, and then they just start going. But like, I've watched TV shows that like the first 2 to 3 episodes is just them going, here's this person, here's this person, here's this person, here's exactly what we're doing right now, here's the current concerns going on, and it's like 3 episodes. And then the season's like 8 to 9 episodes, and then once you get all that, they're like, okay, great, things are happening now. It's episode 3 or 4, we're going. And that's great. That's fine. I think that's great. It's not a movie. Movies are like really fast right away because they have to like, they don't need to introduce as much.
Yeah, movies only have 2 hours.
They have 2 hours. Like they're not going to introduce as much, and that's okay. That's totally fine. But this is a TV show. You didn't like. I don't know if you liked the analogy yesterday, but it works for me because there are a lot of TV shows that I've seen, particularly ones that are like the whole season is a story.
I didn't understand the second half of the analogy yesterday, where you were comparing between TV shows and movies. Now I understand the analogy, and I do agree with you.
Yes, it's the same. It's very similar. Like the TV shows that are like very episodic, it doesn't count. It doesn't work for that. Like Star Trek is an episodic series. It doesn't really have like a full story like a lot of stuff does now. So that doesn't work. But like there are certain recent Netflix shows, even ones that are like more kid shows that I've watched recently. There's this show that I watched. It's called Dragon Prince. It's a kids show. Much like Avatar is kind of a kids show to some extent. But it's like it's got a lot of adult themes, and I like it a lot. Like Kate and I watch it. And it's the same way. Like the first 2 to 3 episodes, there's like some kind of plot to assassinate the king. And they're introducing all the characters, including the king, that are a part of this kingdom. And then in episode 3, like, okay, king's dead. Now the plot goes. We've introduced the king has died. The actual motivation for the people, there's like these 2 princes. The 2 princes have motivation with this other character. They go off on their adventure with their item that they have because they have to return the item. That is the adventure. And then from there, it actually takes on this identity. This seems the same way. It's like, okay, here's 3 chapters of us explaining, well, this is the Archduke and the Archduke's sister. And it's like, okay. And you're just like, they keep introducing people. And you're like, okay, can I follow this one? Like, okay, here's Frederica, here's Roland, here's the king. The king's handing over this. Your father's handing you the lordship now, and all these things. There's a tournament. What's with the tournament? There's this. Okay, we've uncovered another mine for resources. Really, it's a joint venture. And he was like, okay, great. But then you said in chapter 4 something happens. That seems very similar. Yep. Okay, chapter 4. Now that you've been introduced to people, and you know enough about the previous conflicts in the land. Okay, great. Now we're going to do something.
Now we can
because you have enough. In Dead Space, you didn't need that. In Dead Space, they're just like, yeah, you're on a ship. What else? I don't know.
There's zombies.
Look, a zombie. You're like, fuck. There's a zombie. And you're just like, you're just running from zombies. And then like the whole story pieces itself together, like, but it's faster. But this game is not a movie, which is fine. Like, some people want to watch movies. I like movies, but like, there's something nice about sitting down and watching 4 seasons of a show with the same characters, and it's a really long story, and not every sequence of it has the same like identity and goal, but like, I mean, in this game, like a war happens. Glenbrook, the main area that starts with Serenoa is invaded by another neighboring country, Frost, right? It's a neighboring country. It's the one in the north, right? The one with the snow. Yep. Clever name. So they get invaded, and okay, things happen. And then they're invaded, and the land is taken. But like at that point, obviously you want to retake the land, but there's probably some other goals in between there. It's not just all about retaking the land. There's probably something else there as well. Like that's like a TV show for me. It's like, okay, we've got this major objective. That's the reason why we're going all these seasons to get there. Like 4 seasons a show, we're trying to return this thing or whatever, trying to get our land back. But we've got some other adventures in between there. It seems like that. And that's cool. That's good. That is good. Dead Space is not that. But this seems like a TV show, and that's cool. I think there's like a certain audience for that, and there's like the tactics on it is like a little bit of icing that you get to do, like some strategy in between there. You get to play your chess game in between that. I think the only unfortunate parts are the fact that you said you really only develop like 5 characters, right? Like the Serenoa, Federica, Benedict, Roland. 4?
Yep.
Was there a 5th?
Yeah.
Did I miss one?
Pretty much those. It's pretty much those 4.
It's kind of unfortunate that it's only those 4. you'd think there was somebody else, even in the optional party members that come in, that has a stake in the game. You know, I'm sure that is the case in some of them, but you haven't seen all of them, so you can't really say that for certain. But like, it's like kind of nice in Fire Emblem when all the students kind of have a stake in what's going on in some extent, because they're all like from specific lands, like, and when the big conflicts happen, like they've got a stake in it because they're the, you know, Queen Edelgard has to take over, but each individual like land that is fighting against her, and even her faction, the Black Eagles, they have a stake. Like all the students have a stake. So when you have that kind of like group of characters, all of them have a stake in the game because they don't want Queen Edelgard to take over their land. It's nice. It's nice. You get some development from all those characters in Fire Emblem. You talk to them through their support dialogue, so you get to know them. So it's like very similar to what you were explaining with, you get like, as you use the characters and adventure with them more, they tell you more things, they share some things. But it's nice when they have a stake in the game, even if they're optional. And, you know, not every student is required in the end game of Fire Emblem, but, you know, it's nice when they have a stake in what's going on.
I mean, yeah, I wouldn't say that they don't have a stake in the game. Like, they're there. When they join you, they explain the reason that they're joining you.
Sure.
But they're just not... The problem is they're just not an ever-present part of the story. The present part of the story is the 8 main party members, which are Serenoa, Frederica, Roland, Benedict, Anna, Gila, and Eridor.
Okay. Got it. So that is a lot. That's a big group, actually. Only like the main 4 get a decent amount of the rest are just like, you know, Huette is Roland's guard. She's like the King's Guard to Roland. I've seen
her. Gila is Frederica's retainer.
Yep.
Eridor is the arms master of House Wolfort.
Yep.
and is the spy who is like indebted to Benedict and House Wolfort. So
it's, but not everyone gets the development that you thought they should get, is your main argument.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the side characters, the extra ones you could recruit, they have a stake in the game, and they're there and they fight for you, and you get bits and pieces, but they're just not involved in the story. And again, it's because of the way the game was designed.
Yeah.
Which it wouldn't make sense, but it's not like,
Yeah. Okay.
They just feel like they're kind of there most of the time.
Yeah.
It's like they're there, they help you in battle. If you use them enough, you'll get another little side story to do with them and how their like quest is developing on like what they wanted to accomplish. But again, it's kind of more like Octopath in that sense, where like the party didn't really seem like the party was very disjointed in that game. I know they had those little like party chats occasionally, but
it's not as connected.
It really it was much more about the 8 individual stories of that game than like the party cohesion and the overall narrative, I guess.
Okay.
But
I have another thought to sort of provoke your thoughts. You said the plot is okay. Can we say it's okay, or is that?
I think it's good. It's good.
It's good. Okay, it's good.
Good.
I thought you meant okay.
Good, not amazing.
Okay, so it's good. I thought you meant it was like okay, and I was about to say something, but when it's good, then I'm not gonna say much more. So, my gosh, I just got a message on Slack. I gotta quit that. For work. What else is good? No, I mean, like I said, I only played like an hour and a half of the demo. I told you this already. I'm not committing to buy this game, not because I don't think it's a quality product, but because when am I going to play it compared to everything else that I still have to play? It's like, right, do I really want to add to the backlog? That being said, like the demo that I played, even with a lot of dialogue and stuff, it's, you know, nothing wrong with it. Like the voice acting, from what I've heard, is good. The combat, the one combat that I did, like I would say was like pretty interesting. What difficulty are you on? I didn't ask. I should have. Normal? Hard? Okay, normal.
Normal.
Okay. So I
Hard
chose...
from what I've seen is actually quite challenging.
Okay. So yeah, I just like, I mean, I've only played an hour and a half, like, but I'm not bored. So
Yeah.
that's good. Like, usually when I get bored in a game, that's a really bad sign, and I do bore easily. But I wasn't bored. I was trying to, like, it's just a lot of stuff being thrown at you.
It's a lot. There was a lot of exposition at the beginning of the game. There was a lot.
But it wasn't like dumb, you know. It wasn't like too silly. It was serious. It was trying to be taken seriously. So you wanted to like be there. The only thing I thought was like moderately amusing was like, what do you think of my pink hair? It's like, who gives a shit? You have pink hair. Like, why do we care? And I guess like where she's from, everybody just has pink hair. Is that it? Like, what's going on? Like, why does it matter?
It's not where she's from, but it's like a race of people known as the Roselle who all have pink hair.
Okay, that's it. So I was like, it's like, who cares? You have pink hair. What? Okay, but it's the race. All of them have pink hair. Okay.
Yep.
I'm sorry. For whatever reason, that's just amusing to me. That like that's the distinguishing trait. Is we all have pink hair. Like, okay. Anything else? No. Oh, okay. I don't know why, but that as a distinguishing trait was amusing to me. Just like pink hair is our distinguishing trait. It wasn't bad though. I was just like, I was like laughing while I was listening to it. It was like, really? Pink hair? But yeah, I don't know. So would you recommend this to everybody, or is this like only if you like these things would you recommend it? A 9?
I mean,
can I be clear? A 9 means you'd probably recommend it to anyone. That's what a 9 like for me would feel like.
But it's my opinion. Like,
sure.
To me, this game is a 9. Would I recommend this to everybody? No, because I don't think everybody would like this.
Sure.
Like, this is a strategy RPG. If you don't like strategy games, you're not gonna like this game. Like, it's the same. Like, it's any game. Like, I know Elden Ring has like a 96 or 97 on Metacritic. That doesn't mean everybody is going to like the game.
Sure.
Like, there are people who don't like Souls games. They don't like that they are difficult, or that they don't hold your hand, or that they don't tell you where to go all the time, or so even though the game is like a 9 or a 10 out of 10 to basically the entire gaming media, it's not that everyone like, okay, Elden Ring has more widespread I lost my word. But yeah, it's more people would like Elden Ring than Triangle Strategy. Sure. Triangle Strategy is niche, but if you like JRPGs, like that type of storytelling and or strategy RPGs, or maybe if you really like the idea of really interesting and impactful choices in the game, and you can at least stomach this type of storytelling and like strategy games as long as you don't hate that genre, then I would recommend this game.
Okay.
If you like kind of like any of those 3 pillars without hating the other any of the pillars, then I would highly recommend this game, because I think it's excellent.
Yeah.
But this game is not for everybody.
Sure.
And as we've talked about, the game has an incredibly slow start if you're unable to get through the first 3 chapters, which, if you're going fast, maybe it's like 3 to 4 hours. If you're going slow, it's like 4.5 hours, which is what it was for me.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
It's not a fast game. It has a slow start, but I think the gameplay is really fun. And also, don't go into it thinking it's not Fire Emblem, and it's not Final Fantasy Tactics. It is a strategy game akin to those, but it is its own thing. It's not trying to be Final Fantasy Tactics. It's not trying to be Fire Emblem.
Right.
It is Triangle Strategy. It is its own thing. It is a strategy game, that is, I would say it's more similar to Final Fantasy Tactics than Fire Emblem, but it doesn't have the depth of customization in the character classes, like in the job system in Final Fantasy Tactics. This is its own thing that has its own systems and executes them very well, in my opinion. But it is not either of those games, or it's not XCOM. It's not any of those strategy games. It is
Right.
It's a completely new thing. Obviously, it takes ideas from some of those, but puts its own spin on it.
Right,
So,
of course. And I think that people that are making comparisons simply are trying to allude to the fact that, like, oh, it was nice over here. Why isn't it over here? That's basically what they're alluding to.
I mean, yeah, I've just seen people say, like, oh, I thought this was gonna be like the spiritual successor to Final Fantasy Tactics. Like, if it was that, it would have been called Final Fantasy Tactics something. Like,
it probably would have said that too in their
triangle
marketing.
strategy. Like,
they probably would have said that somewhere in their marketing to try and push that idea. That's
everybody wants a remake of Final Fantasy Tactics. No, this is not your remake of Final Fantasy Tactics, nor is it a spiritual successor to Final Fantasy Tactics. It's just its own thing.
It's something. So, but yeah, I don't know. Like, their marketing probably would have said that if it was. It's like spiritual successor, or like from the people that made Final Fantasy Tactics. It would have said that to allude to a similarity, but it didn't. It said something. It said something probably completely different.
Yeah, it said like a brand new strategy RPG.
Thank you.
With based, where do your convictions lie? Blah blah blah.
That's it. Like, that's what they said, which is what the game is about.
That's what the game is.
Yeah. So anyway, I mean, there are definitely games though that, like, you could say, Triangle Strategy not being one of them based on what you said, but like, there are games that I could say to people, I just recommend people play it no matter what. Just try it. Like, I would probably do that with Mass Effect 1. It's like, yeah, you should just try it. Do you even if you don't necessarily like certain things, like, yeah, just try it. It's like that's a mainstream recommendation. This is not a mainstream recommendation. It's very specific to a certain community.
It's specific to a certain community, but it's also like, if you've never played a strategy RPG before, maybe this would be a good one to check out. It's interesting, it's cool, and there's 4 difficulties. There's very easy, normal, and hard. So if you haven't played a strategy game before,
easy to enter.
Go on easy or very easy. The game is relatively challenging on normal, in my opinion. It's not that easy. So, you can play on a lower difficulty, and I think. So yeah, but again, if you are not a fan of strategy, if you've played Final Fantasy Tactics and you don't like Final Fantasy Tactics,
don't play it.
Well, actually, I don't know if I would say that 100%, because I won't say I don't like Final Fantasy Tactics, but I don't love Final Fantasy Tactics. I think it's okay. Like, the depth of customization in that game actually annoys me, because it requires a lot of grinding. Because when you want to level up your jobs, you have to reset your level to go to a different job, and it just requires a lot of grinding.
Planning, or just that planning, which you may not have beforehand. So
yeah,
that's also a factor there. It's like planning too.
That's a thing. But again, if you're a fan of, especially if you're a fan of strategy RPGs, I recommend it. If you're if you're looking to try one out, I think this is a good one, possibly a good one to start on. I might recommend Fire Emblem over this as like an entry-level strategy RPG, to be honest. But I think the game's really good. I think it's really cool. It is definitely directed at a certain audience. Again, if you don't like this type of game, this won't change your mind, but because it is a strategy RPG, but it has a lot of interesting ideas and interesting elements that I think are executed very well. Like, the big thing that was going to be with this game is, like, are the choices interesting? Are they impactful? Obviously, I haven't seen the endings yet, so we'll see, what the ending that I got looks like. But at this point, at least, I am planning on doing at least one more full playthrough of the game on New Game Plus and seeing some of the other routes, because I like the game enough to do another playthrough.
Sure.
And the second playthrough should be different enough, because there is areas where there's full branches that I haven't seen at all. So the maps will be completely different. The battles will be completely different. So yeah. And you carry over a lot of stuff in New Game Plus from what I've heard. So yeah.
Okay. Any other thoughts? There's a lot.
I think yeah, that was a lot. I think that covers most of it. Again,
Okay.
this game. There's a lot coming out this year, but this game is like, to me, it's at least for me. Obviously, this won't be the general consensus, but this game is like possible sleeper game of the year for me. Like, it's that good.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
for you,
Xenoblade-
for you,
For me and like JRPG and like strategy people, Xenoblade 3 is coming out this year, so that's might be hard to beat.
yes,
But
yeah,
I haven't played. This is actually like the first game that's released. Well, I played Lost Ark, but this is like the first game that's released this year that I've played. So it's kind of easy to say this is my game of the year so far.
yeah.
but
I was about to say, I was like, isn't this?
I don't see anything that I play up until like. Yeah, until pretty much like Xenoblade 3 that I know about that would have a chance of beating this. Like, to me, like a lot of those Nintendo games look cool, like Mario Strikers, Kirby, Advance Wars, whenever that comes out. Like, those games are going to be cool, but I don't think those will be better than this. Like, this game is really, really good in my opinion. It's really good.
Okay.
I really like it.
Well, I can guarantee it won't win Game of the Year. I can literally guarantee that today.
Yeah, I can guarantee that today as well.
I
could pretty much certainly guarantee it won't be nominated either.
No. If it did, that'd be really shocking. But
maybe it'll get a nod in like best art style.
There's a strategy one.
Yeah, it'll definitely be in that. It should be in that. If it's not, that would be offensive. Maybe in best narrative as well, but we'll see.
I don't think it'll win strategy either. I think Total War, Warhammer. Probably, probably stamped
War.
that one already.
Total War
probably stamped that already.
Might have stamped that one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Maybe
right.
art style or something.
This is an unfortunate year for this game to be nominated to win it.
This year is actually like completely stacked.
It's a great year.
There's a lot of stuff coming out this year.
Yeah, there's a great year. We've already gotten 2 that we're gonna see on Game of the Year list. For certain. I mean, Halo might sneak onto the Game of the Year list since it came out too late.
Wasn't it nominated for some things last year? No, it wasn't.
So it could sneak onto that list too. But yeah, we know of at least 2. Like Horizon Forbidden West and Elden Ring are going to be on it. I don't know. Well, Kirby might be a sleeper to get on that. We have to see how
Kirby might be a sleeper, but
Kirby
like
might sleep on
supposedly the new God of War is going to come out this year.
Oh,
Breath of
God.
the Wild 2 as well.
my
We don't know
God.
for sure, but maybe.
Man.
Again, this year is looking ridiculously stacked.
This is a tough year for anybody trying to get Game of the Year when Elden Ring exists. Like, okay, like Elden Ring's wing it. Let's just move on.
Yeah.
It's just who wins the other stuff. That's really what it is.
Well, Elden Ring's gonna win everything for the most part. Like anything that's nominated for, it's probably.
It should win Game of the Year, but it probably shouldn't win action. Just out of like respect, look, it already won Game of the Year. Like, give it to somebody else.
Do you remember Last of Us 2 years ago?
Yeah, I know.
That left everything.
I know. But if you win Game of the Year, like, I understand you should win like best of that specific genre you're already in, but give it to somebody else as like a nice nod. Like, look, you didn't win Game of the Year, but you're great. Okay, you're great.
Yeah.
Like, of course that's the case. Last of Us 2 was, oh god, that was a joke. That was so stupid. Yeah. That was a bad year for us, for people watching the awards show. That was a bad year.
But yeah, again, like, I am almost certain, unless a lot of these games, games that I'm going to play this year turn out better than I'm expecting, that this game will make, if we do our top 5 games of the year for next year, I'm pretty sure this will be on my list, like, almost certainly. Like, again, I like it that much. I'm pretty confident that it's going to be in there and going to be in the running for my personal game of the year.
Sure.
Like, it's really good.
That makes sense. I'm looking forward to Kirby. That's my game that I might be able to actually, hopefully, I want to make time for it. That's my game.
Yeah.
The
You
25th.
need some mouthful mode.
It's like a meme. It's a meme. It's great.
It is a meme.
And Strikers are gonna be fun. But anyway, okay. Let's wind things down.
Yeah, I know we're a little over time.
It's fine. Let's wind things down. So first off, for people still listening, for those of you on the VOD squad, thanks for watching. And we are continuing to put YouTube videos up. Hopefully they'll be more, quicker this weekend due to me having some more time personally, but also just the fact that we'll try and be faster this weekend. And next weekend I'm running a charity event. I won't talk about it too much more, but it'll be on my stream. So you should check that out. My stream is just twitch.tv/automaton1989. And there will be no podcast next week as a result. So we'll accumulate game news and go the following week. So we'll come back the 24th, which is actually the day after my birthday. And we'll be back and talk about some more stuff, and we'll have some potential reviews come in for Kirby. We'll get to see reviews of Kirby.
Oh yeah, that's coming. Is that coming out the 25th?
25th,
right?
yep. So we'll get some Kirby reviews. That'll be cool. We'll get to read Kirby reviews. So anyway, Spoon, any final closing thoughts from you?
No, I don't think so. I might. Again, I know I said this last week, but I might stream some Triangle Strategy New Game Plus once I finish my first playthrough, which should be in the next few days. So
okay, sounds good.
Yep.
Okay, well, thanks everybody for watching, and we'll be back in 2 weeks. Guaranteed we'll be talking about Kirby in 2 weeks, the reviews coming in, and obviously more. So thanks everyone for watching, and we'll see you guys in a few weeks.
Yep. Night, everybody.
Night.